Welcome to Healing Mindset, where science meets soul and wellness becomes wisdom in motion. Tonight, we are joined by Dr. Zoa Conner, a physicist-turned-wellbeing lifestyle alchemist whose mission is to help high-achieving women stop merely surviving and start thriving. With a unique fusion of analytical precision and holistic intuition, Zoa is redefining what it means to feel truly well inside and out. So, Zoa, tell me, you transitioned from physics to well-being, two words that seem very far apart. What inspires that shift from studying the universe to exploring human experience?
Well, the physics is about learning why things work the way they do
Yeah.
and understanding the world around you. And that includes yourself. Bodies are complex beings, and that complexity is mirrored by the complexity of the universe. So to me, it doesn't matter whether it's a body or a star or your car. The questions we ask are all the same thing. What does this need to work? What are the parameters that it works within? And how do I make changes that I want? Right?
Okay. So, do you still find yourself thinking like a physicist when helping someone heal?
I think like a physicist all the time. Someone comes in to talk to me, or they schedule a time to chat, and they think the problem is I need to learn to meditate. Okay, but then when I start hearing their story, I'm seeing all the pieces of the puzzle. There was a death of a family member. There was an injury or illness. There was a job stress. There was a stress with a child. These are all things that affect, maybe, yes, meditation is the right thing, but your body has a set of systems. And so
Yeah.
what is happening on the systemic level, on the physical level, on the energetic level, on the mental level, right? This person, yes, meditation might help, but maybe she also needs a little bit of help with her gut microbiome. Maybe she also needs some hormonal work because she's not sleeping. Meditation might help you sleep, but it might not, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes in the well-being world, you need an analytical approach, not just a bunch of band-aids or a bunch of things that work occasionally but not reliably.
Okay, I get it. That's fascinating. Like science is a language for understanding energy, both cosmic and personal. So when you listen to people and you join the dots, I understand. That's good. So you often talk about strategic well-being. What does that mean in practice, and how is it different from traditional self-care?
Well, depending on your definition of self-care, I actually kind of think of strategic well-being as being very similar to the self-care that's taught in ancient Ayurvedic traditions. So the idea being that you're combining all the things of your lifestyle to suit what it is that you need, with a focus on sleep and food and your use of energy. I think in the modern times, we tend to think about the fact that we always need to add more. We need to take this supplement. We need to do this new exercise. We need to add this practice, do this. We're always adding. And that's stressful on its own. And the problem that I see for many people is that sometimes the things that they're doing look good on paper, and they might work for your sister or the person in your office or your mother or your child, but they're not actually working for you. They're actually making it harder to feel well, right? Let me give you an example. Salad, right? If someone is concerned about their weight or trying to make changes to their diet to feel healthier, I see a lot of people going to try to have salads, right? Because there's lots of vegetables there. It's healthy, right? Well, what happens when you eat the salad but don't digest it very well, and then you're bloated and you don't feel well and you can't sleep? The salad looked good on paper, but it wasn't a good practice for you. And maybe the problem is that you're stressed enough that you need to have cooked vegetables because it's easier to digest. That's actually healthier for you than a
Yeah.
salad, right? So
Yeah,
it's a
right.
matter of filtering through all the information that's out there in the world and choosing the things that actually are benefiting you right now, not the things that you wish would benefit you right now.
Yeah. What is good for you is what you have to go ahead with, not what is looking good on paper. Very true.
Correct.
Very true. So, can strategy and intuition coexist in creating a balanced life?
They absolutely do. Many times what I find is that people are in their heads a lot. They're thinking, they pick up a bottle, a supplement bottle, and they're looking at the label and they're deciding and assessing and evaluating and judging, right?
Uh-huh.
But what they don't realize is that they can't wait to put the bottle down. They don't actually want what's inside the bottle,
They're just
right?
doing it to show.
Yep. And I also explain, for those people that love lists, they love to make a list and check things off, right? Very good for feeling of accomplishment. So what if you take a list of your grocery items to the store or to the market? You get what's on the list, and then you go home and you make the food, right? There was no space for intuition to play a part in what you bought. There was no space for looking at the vegetables and being attracted to the oranges or being attracted to the green vegetables. That attraction of like, oh, this looks really good today is probably a sign from your intuition that there's something in that food that your body needs. But if it wasn't on the list, you didn't buy it.
Exactly. I get it. That is something very interesting to hear about. And this blend of logic and flow makes well being both grounded and dynamic. So, you work especially with high achieving women who feel off even when life looks good. Why do you think success sometimes leave people feeling empty or depleted?
Well, so these high achieving women are smart cookies. They are really good at what they do. They are very invested in feeling confident and knowledgeable and being experts in their field.
Okay.
But sometimes their wellness and well-being are not as well supported as they need to be. So the problem lies that they're applying their energy and their focus and their learning and their desire to get better to their career or their family or their business. They want to know what to do to get better sleep and have better digestion and improved energy, but they don't want to become their own expert in medicine and nutrition and, physical movement. They'll do it. They'll happily do it, but they don't know what to do. And that's not where they want to put their energy. If they did, they would be in the wellness space for their job or career or business.
Yes.
Right? So these women want to do it right. They want some help to do it. And once they have a plan, as long as they're getting positive feedback, it has to actually work. Then they'll be really, really happy. And they'll sleep better and they'll have improved energy and they'll be in less pain and they'll know what to do to bring them back to feeling really awesome all the time. But they need a little bit of help.
Yeah. So when they come to you, they talk to you for their well-being and everything. So what is usually that one missing element that they discover during your retreat?
Well, funnily enough, oftentimes the first thing that we're doing is working on breathing. Breathing is a funny thing because it starts with your first breath of life in the birth, and it finishes with death. You're going to breathe throughout the course of your life. That's part of what your subconscious mind controls. but your conscious mind has a big impact on the quality of your breath. And so for many people, they're focused on looking good in their clothes, looking like they are strong and good at their job. They're busy worrying about the care of their mother and getting their child to soccer practice, and also getting the meeting deadlines met. And all of that is stress. All of that is, in their mind, beneficial stress that they are handling well. But their nervous system is in a stressed state, and so their breath is shallow and light and fast, and not calming them down, not activating their core muscles, not making them feel good. So very often, the very first time that I meet someone, or one of the ways that we start off at a retreat is, how well can you make changes to your breath to match what you want to feel? If you feel like you want to calm down and relax, can you change your breath to make that happen? Because it is a conscious effort. And sometimes they don't know how. It's not a matter of it's not working. It's that I don't even know how to give those instructions to my body.
Yeah, it is so amazing that women feel so much and they go through so much of stress, whether it is life, family, and everything, and then they still wake up the next day and go ahead, which is absolutely beautiful. And then like you help them with such a basic and important thing of breathing, which feels like it is just you doing it. But when you learn how to do it better, it actually makes an impact in your life.
It does. And unfortunately, for some of these women, when I explain that when you are in a stress state and you have that fast, shallow breathing, and you're breathing with your shoulders, not your belly, right? But then once we calm you down and get the whole body to breathe and your nervous system regulates, then you start crying. And they don't
Your
like that,
emotions
because that's
flow.
a feeling of weakness, and I shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, but your nervous system, the way it works is when you're stressed, you can't cry. You don't make tears. You have a dry mouth. You're not very well lubricated. You're not making stomach acid. There's all these physiological changes that happen when you're stressed. So the fact that you can now cry is a compliment.
And it's
working.
Yeah.
And it's
And
not
crying is not, yeah, exactly. That is what I was about to say.
not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of healing. You're in closer to a healing state. You're closer to a sleeping state. And these are really important places. You're designed to go into stress, out of stress, into stress, out of stress, right? If you're running away from a saber-toothed tiger trying to save your life, you're stressed. You don't stop and have a snack. You don't stop and cry for, the plant you just stepped on. You don't do any of those things, right? That all happens when you're safe and calm and the saber-toothed tiger has run away.
Yeah.
But now you've got the driving, you've got the job, you've got the family, you've got the social media, you've got the news, you've got all these things that constantly keep you up in stress. When you calm down, it's going to be a big calm down, and there might be tears. There might be yawns. That's okay. It's a good positive sign.
Yeah. It's a sign towards your healing, which is not at all correlated to weakness. So, like your retreats focus on precision intervention. Could you share an example of one of a client that made profound difference?
So when I do private retreats, these are just the one person and me in a beautiful place for 3 days. And we're going to work through all of their lifestyle pieces. So from a functional perspective lens, we're going to look at breathing and diet and digestion and nervous system. And what are the practices that they're currently doing in order to support each of these important elements? And then we're going to come back and we're going to assess the lifestyle from an Ayurvedic perspective.
Okay.
supporting food and sleep and energy and sex and your dosha and the gunas that you're supporting or missing, and what can we do to add that lens in. And so frequently it's not a matter of you're doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But one recent example is, um, a client who, drops her son off at school, goes home, takes the dog for a 45-minute walk, then sits down at her desk to work. And then she doesn't get up from her desk until it's time to go get the son from school and then take the dog for another walk and then do all the family stuff in the evening. I turned it around for her and I was like, well, what if you changed and put the dog walk after lunch? And what if you put the second dog walk after dinner? Then you've got support for your digestion. You've got a reason to get up out of your chair and move around midday. You can wake up your muscles. Like, and I said, you're not adding more time. You're not taking away anything. All you're doing is changing the pattern,
Yeah.
right?
Even in your monotonous life, changing a little pattern can bring so much of difference and peace in your schedule and even your stress. It just makes you feel a little different. So,
Absolutely, right? So the going and dropping off the kid for the school is a slight stress. But
yeah.
then she sits and works, and that's a different stress, right? That's more mental and emotional, not physical. But then you get up and you eat, and then you take a walk, and that kind of resets everything. It resets your brain, it resets your vision, it resets your nervous system. And then you can sit down and do more work again, and you'll have a clearer mind, and you'll have a happier body.
Exactly. So, how do you ensure that these transformations that you suggest to your clients, they last even after they end this retreat with you? Like,
It is really important
Mhm.
because all too often these days, it's easy to find yourself on a retreat that ends up just looking like an expensive vacation,
Mhm.
right? And so if you're taking yourself on a fully transformational retreat, then you come home with more than just look at all the things that I saw. You're coming home with a concrete plan. You're coming home with some ideas, but then also ideas about how you can actually interact those ideas into your life. So for my retreats and my clients, they come home with an actual book, which is their plan in 3 phases. Some
Okay.
people like to move fast when they implement things at home. Some people like to go slow.
Mhm.
And most people like to know what's coming next.
Mhm.
So they got this plan to enact. And then you have the option of continuing to work with me for 6 months or a year after your retreat at actually implementing those. Because there's going to be questions and there's going to be things that are new that you need to account for. And there's going to be things that didn't work, even though they looked like they might.
Yeah.
So that continual ability to stay in contact with me really helps them with the implementation. And that's what makes it sustainable, right? My definition of learning is that you take the information that you have been exposed to and you can apply it to your everyday life. You should be able to explain it to your grandmother, your 4-year-old child, and an expert in the field and have them all understand what you're talking about. Right. So your retreat experience offers you the big breakthrough, right? The inspiration, the motivation. I'm going to make these changes. But then when you go home, you still need someone who's going to walk beside you and keep you going forward when it would be easier to stop or go back. Right. And
Yeah.
because your brain wants to save energy, it doesn't want to do the hard work. It wants to make it easier. So having an accountability partner like me helps you stay going forward.
Yeah, exactly. Having a partner, whether it will be like a relationship partner, whether it's a friend, beside you, it plays a very important role in your life to make you go through certain phases and a lot of things in your life. So
Yeah.
the scientific discipline is really when it shines with change that's measurable and not just mystical. So, your book Wellness in Motion ties well-being to sustainable living. How does caring for the earth reflect or enhance personal healing?
Well, when you think about the way that the earth nurtures you, you've
Mm-hmm.
got farmers who tend to the land, they grow food, you eat the food, it nourishes you, right? That cycle has to go back to the land and back to the farmer. Otherwise, at some point, you use up all the resources in the soil, right?
Yeah.
When we breathe, as humans, we breathe in air because we want the oxygen from the air. And
Yep.
we breathe out carbon dioxide because that's our waste product.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do we make sure we don't use up all the oxygen in the air? Plants and trees, because they go the other way. They take our expired carbon dioxide and they turn it into oxygen for us. So our ability to feel good depends on the earth's ability to support us.
Yeah.
And so when you are figuring out your lifestyle, you want to pay attention to the earth around you and make sure that it is supporting your health and wellness as much as it should be. You can
Exactly.
see the trees behind me, right?
Yeah,
There's
it
all
is. It
kinds
is.
of ways to support your wellness in a sustainable way
Yeah.
that are very personal and very local and very practical, right? And
Exactly.
then you
It
can
is.
take it on a global level as well.
Oh, and that is actually very beautiful. So, um, so do you see environmental consciousness as a part of emotional alignment too?
Well, I think that emotional alignment has to do with you and the world around you.
Uh-huh.
And the world around you includes the earth, not just the people, right? So, how you interact with yourself affects how you interact with other people, affects how you interact with animals,
Mhm.
affects how you interact with plants, and that the consciousness of everything affects your wellness. Even if you're an intellectual person with a PhD or a fancy high powered job or a parent or a child, right? We know that the energy of a room changes when someone walks in and joins the group or when someone walks out. That's a real experience that almost everyone has had. It's no different. You feel different when the trees get chopped down,
And
right? So the consciousness and the connection and the alignment that we feel with ourselves is going to be dependent on those around us.
that is amazing. So the connection between planet and person feels deeply timely, healing ourselves as we heal the earth. So,
That's what I think.
yeah. So, Dr. Zoa Conner reminds us that the true wellness isn't random. It is designed, refined, and deeply felt. When strategy meets soul, we stop chasing balance and start living it. If tonight's conversation sparked something within you, take a moment to observe your own energy, where it flows, where it's blocked, and imagine what could shift it. You optimized it with intention. Stay inspired and aligned here on Healing Mindset.